Hello everybody, welcome to the Riot Turkey International Invitational number 3 second semi-finals. We are in the picks and bans phase for our first game of this best of 3 between CPLAY and Cloud9 Eclipse. I am James Stress O'Leary, alongside me once again is Vince Metters Hill, and this is, as we said, game 1 of this best of 3 semi-final.
It certainly is. Cloud9 Eclipse have been on a tear so far in the last few weeks/months in the EU Challenger scene, so it's going to be a pretty difficult game, I have to say, for CPLAY. Of course, they are through to the semi-finals. They've been playing very well themselves, but personally, I think a lot of people would agree on this one. Cloud9 probably going to take this game.
Ooh, big words to start this series off. We've seen Cloud9 putting in convincing performances a lot of the time here, so we are going through the bans phase. It's actually going fairly slowly as CPLAY really trying to decide what they want to ban out. Rise was done at the very last second on their first ban, and now they're letting it pretty much expire for ban number 2 as well. Pantheon not going to be available in the jungle in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, no man drops are going to be seen in this one, but it's a confident thing to say, but I feel the results recently back it up. CPLAY are a team that I haven't seen for a while. As I said before, if I go back around 6 months, they were playing in the US Challenger Series quite often, but they're quite a different team as well. The only player that I remember that was on their initial lineup was Godbro. The rest of them have kind of switched around quite a bit. So for me, I would say Cloud9, but I think it could go down to a third game.
It could indeed. Of course, both of these teams have made it through 2 rounds already to get here, so Cloud9 pretty confident on what they're banning out. They're just getting rid of Kha'Zix, getting rid of Renekton. Probably Lulu will be their last ban if it's not banned out by CPLAY. Come on, CPLAY, you're letting it go really late. Eve banned out, so not going to have that stealth jungler again. We saw in the previous game between Tick, Trick, and Duck, and of course, Dark Passage, they used Evelynn quite a lot. I think she was actually in all 3 games.
She was in the first 2, then was banned in the last one, yeah. And so Nightmare went for Wukong instead.
Ah, yes. It's all flooding back to me, all from 25 minutes ago. But, you know, sometimes brain, like a sieve, just goes straight through it. It's not a good thing. But we're waiting on the last... Ah, no ban out. Okay. That's something that's been happening a little bit on 4.4, is teams just have not been banning a third champion.
Yeah, which leave Lulu available will get locked in first. Ku, of course, is renowned for his very, very strong mechanical Lee Sin play, so if that gets locked in, would not be a surprise at all. LeBlanc also free and very much available. You still got Wukong in the mix. You got Yasuo that we saw in the previous game is still available, as well as all of the supports pretty much. So plenty of variety of champions to pick from here for both squads.
I was actually going to comment that they obviously leaving one ban away allows them to leave 2 mid laners open, likely Lulu and LeBlanc, and that pretty much is saying you have one, we'll have the other, and we're fine with whichever one you want to take. And then Cloud9 nearly locked in LeBlanc there, and I'm thinking, you don't need to do that, because they already have their mid laner locked in. You don't need to rush to that. Pick up other high-profile picks. So that's what they've done, in fact, is they've picked up Caitlyn, picked up Lee Sin, and taken some of the best champions right now in their particular roles.
Yes, indeedy. That's going to be back over to CPLAY, though. Now, you still got Leona, you still got Thresh open. We've been seeing a lot more Nami play recently as well, so that's definitely one that could be thrown in for good measure. I would expect to see an AD carry or support picked in here, because there's no top lane has been opted for from Cloud9 Eclipse. So to me, it would make a lot of sense to get one of those picked out here. Wukong would be in the jungle, and Morgana would very likely be support. So that's not too surprising for me.
No, nothing overly different in this picks and bans phase so far. So Cloud9 Eclipse are going to respond with, looks like an Annie of their own. I think that would be a good pickup. They have locked that in, and probably their mid laner here. Yeah, it's either going to be Nidalee or LeBlanc. Maybe Gragas, but I feel like Forbidden is good enough on both Nidalee and LeBlanc that really either champion's good against the Lulu.
We saw Forbidden running Nidalee in Face It, and we also saw him using this champion yesterday, I believe it was, as well, to very, very strong effect from the mid lane. So If he does go for the Nidalee, it's something we've seen him run before. As you say, though, LeBlanc is also a character that he can go to if needs be, and it's just a question of what he feels counters Lulu better. We have seen, alongside Caitlyn, there's a lot of poke potential there, so personally, I would go for the Nidalee lock-in, and seemingly Fibin feels the same way, and he has gone for that as well.
Nailed it. Got it. So Italy getting locked in. Sivir may be the answer to this Caitlyn from CPLAY. Of course, Caitlyn having the larger range, Sivir having that better wave clear overall. Did get that adjusted in the recent patch though, so it's ever so slightly lower. And maybe we'll see a Jax picked up. This wouldn't be the first time we've seen Jax as the first member of that top lane into the picks phase, but didn't overly work out for Dark Passage too well earlier today.
Yeah, Jax is certainly seeing somewhat of a resurgence recently at the top, but it's very smart from Cloud9 to keep their cards close to their chest here and say, okay, we want to get that last counter pick. It's up to you to take top lane first. We're not going to gift wrap you that one. Annie is also pretty good support to go alongside Caitlyn. Lots of poke, lots of presence in the lane. It's going to come down to, once again, that Black Shield and how well it can be timed out from the support laner of CPLAY, and that is going to be Jax actually locked in. So now it's down to Cloud9 if they want to potentially go for something like I was going to say Renekton, it has been banned, but something like a Shyvana. I'm not too sure what they're going to go for, but a couple of the champions I'd have expected them to go for have actually been banned. Ryze or Renekton, both been eliminated.
Interesting. I'm looking at things. I mean, we saw Yasuo in the previous game, but typically they haven't really got much to chain that with, so I wouldn't expect that. There are a couple of options, but it looks like we're going back to an old school style of top lane. You have to feel we may be even seeing something like a Shen right here as or Trundle, I guess, is the other option. Just something that is able to withstand a lot of Jax's early game and kind of have a good mid game.
Yeah, Trundle really does tick all the boxes, because what I was going to say before is they need a tanky top laner, and Trundle is pretty much that in a nutshell, especially when you use the subjugate, plus the fact that naturally he does quite a lot of damage as well, so they needed some kind of a tanky front line to allow the poke to come into effect, plus the fact they've got Ku, who typically likes to run very aggressively Sin and then go utility the later on it goes, so he's never going to be super tanky in this matchup. A lot of this is going to be on Adama's shoulders to kind of burden all the damage that flies at Cloud9.
And of course, Odo Amne was the top laner that brought Trundle in, really, when you look at how things were going in the European meta. He was one of the first to even consider picking Trundle against the Shyvana, so of course he's very comfortable on the Troll in that top lane.
That is a very good point indeed. Yeah, he is. This is one of his go-to champions, and it's actually very smart to play this against Jax, because if Jax starts to get super aggressive, the Pillar of Ice is just going to pretty much push him away. Subjugate is going to actually, when he pops his Grandmaster's Might, his ultimate, all of the additional resistance that you're going to get, you're just going to steal away, and then you're going to be able to throw it back in his face. So all-around Trundle is a very strong pick. However, when you look at the rest of CPLAY's lineup, they're very good in team fights. Soul Shackles and also the Cyclone from Wukong is something we saw from the previous game that on top of one another did really good work. So alongside the Lulu in mid, they're actually quite good at dealing with the Cloud9 lineup.
I think the most impressive thing there is you actually got Pillar of Ice.
Did I get it right that time?
You did. Sorry yes. to completely just dump on everything you just said.
No, it's worth it.
Nailed it.
If I actually said Pillar of Ice, I'm genuinely proud of myself, because normally I go with the filth. That sounded quite wrong. Yeah, I normally go with the filth.
Oh dear. Well, we know you, Vince. Don't worry. We know you normally do.
But also another thing is that I am a bit worried for Cloud9, because there's a lot of mobility on the side of CPLAY. You've got the On the Hunt from Sivir. Of course, Lulu can speed you up as well. And then on top of putting them with Wukong and Jax, it's kind of difficult to escape that onslaught. So again, I'm looking at the peel from the side of Cloud9. Dragon's Rage from Lee Sin, Trundle can put down his Pillar of Ice. Apart from that, though, it's going to be down to Annie's Tibbers. If you get through that, it's kind of easy sailing for core play.
Yeah, that is the on-paper assessment, but of course, as we always say, execution is the key to League of Legends, and we are on to the Rift here for our first game of this second best of 3 of the day in the semi-final stage of the Riot Turkey International Invitational number 3. Cloud9 Eclipse on the red side, CPLAY over on the blue, and we'll see whether we get any of that aggression at level 1 that we've been seeing in the past couple of days.
Yep, it's definitely been coming out thick and fast over the last few days since the changes to the trinkets, only planting at 2 minutes. Seemingly both teams are having similar ideas. They are going for that invade. They're not going to be bumping heads just yet, so we can have a double steal coming about here.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've seen a lot of, is that either one team will invade, or either two teams will invade, or neither team will invade. So looks like we're going for that double invade that we tend to have seen recently, ever since 4.4 was released. Of course, guys, we are on the live patch, but we're not on EUS. We are on the tournament realm. So if you are wondering how we are online and EUS to some extent isn't, that would be why.
Yes, apparently EUS is managed to die again. A pretty painful death by the sounds of things. So probably quite a lot of frustrated players around, but you are still getting Cloud9 very patiently waiting in this Wraith Camp bush here. And on the flip side, CPLAY are opting to steal away the red of themselves. So looks like this is going to be a red for red, really.
This is something that actually Cloud9, obviously the North American jungler Meteos, mentioned on Twitter, that he's sick of having every game his red buff gets stolen away. And Odoamne is actually just going to catch a glimpse there of Wukong stealing away red. Going to ward it just to make sure they can see what indeed happens. And actually lands a lot of damage down onto Wukong already. Wukong's going to be able to smite that one out, but it's going to affect his early clear times a little bit.
It will, for sure, affect his clear times, which will and in turn affect how quickly he can get to gank. And often ganks really do come down to the milliseconds. Who gets there quicker, who manages to get that first blood off before the other jungler can get into range. So that could definitely affect him a tiny bit. Ku's already taking his Wraith camp and could look for some plays in mid. No, he's just going to back away.
Yeah, both junglers will be around the same area, but it is time for them to head towards their blue buffs, make sure that they pick up the buffs on time, otherwise that's going to affect their second rotation as well, so they'd really have to make something work there. And these two mid laners are a bit tricky to gank this early on. Neither one really wants to overextend all that much, so it's going to be plain sailing for the junglers. But top lane, big trades out. Odoamne's the one to win that. Wins out with a big chomp there, but both players used all of their summoners.
So the key thing at top lane now is typically Trundle and Jax take a little while to get rolling. They're two high-scaling champions at top lane. That first blood is going to put Odoamne in such a strong position now that he's going to be scaling far faster than Jax. That's going to turn Subjugate at level 6 even more influential in his favour, and this could get very messy very quickly. So watch for Wukong trying to stabilise top lane by maybe camping it a tiny bit. That being said, Lee's in mid.
Ku in the middle lane, didn't quite land the Sonic Wave. That's going to call the end to that gank. Uncharacteristic actually of Ku, not to land that one. Typically he's pretty clean cut on everything that he lands, so Ku just warming himself into this game by the looks of things.
Yeah, he is definitely one of those junglers with Lee Sin that likes to play aggressive, but Lulu's not the easiest of lanes to gank because she's quite deceptively tanky once the help picks comes about with the shield, so that being said though, bot lane, here comes Wukong for the gank. Nope. It's like I'm cursing every gank that comes in.
It's like they can hear you, dude.
Yeah. I should check TS.
Yeah, just suddenly Cloud9 and CPLAY have just like found their way into our team speak. They're just like sat in the channel and neither of us have noticed yet.
That would be quite
impressive.
creepy, I'll be honest.
And impressive, like...
True.
Yeah.
Also,
you'd wonder how they weren't communicating in game.
True. That is a good point as well. I obviously didn't think about this very much. But it's like every time the jungler goes into gank, they're just a couple seconds late. Like, Wukong went in there as the lane was starting to push. Gank wasn't really on. It all depended on Dark Binding landing, and it didn't. So, it's quite a difficult lane to gank, honestly.
Ku? Not sure what Ku is looking for there. Just decided to walk out into turret range and just go, hey, I'm here. don't forget about me. And just like walked out into the middle of the lane. That was kind of surreal. I was wondering what was happening.
I saw that too. I'd understand if Jax was low hit points, but he's nearly full. So what are you gonna do? Tower dive at Jax? No. How about no? That's a really dumb idea.
Especially when the minion wave is pushing in towards your turret. I thought maybe he was going for like a ward or something like that. I don't even know. I really don't have anything to describe what Ku was looking for there. I know Ku sees plays that we don't sometimes, but that time definitely not on Ku, not on at all.
I think he saw a play that no one else in the entire world saw, because his top laner didn't budge an inch. He is coming back for take 2 though.
Yeah, this time we'll see whether he has to go in behind the turret, but the pillar has landed there, gives him the leap though. As Jax tries to get away, Ward jumps forward to just make sure he can stay on top of this one. Didn't quite land the Sonic Wave, but no flash on Jax means that this should be a kill. Flash forward from Ku, Safeguard keeps Trundle safe. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, there's a gank out by Wukong, who's ticking very low, but should get away from this.
Thing is that missed Sonic Wave resonating strike combo cost Ku a flash. He had to flash to secure that kill in the end, which he wouldn't have needed to have done so had that skill shot have landed. So that could end up being pretty significant going into the next couple minutes.
It could, but we're seeing a lot of heavy trading all around the map. Looking down at the bottom lane for the CPLAY duo, they're quite low themselves, but one of those Dark Bindings lands, and that would spell the end for Hyanan as they do have themselves a slight lead. Meanwhile, mid lane, Forbidden flashing up red is very low on mana, so this is actually going to be a pretty bad time to be forced back. There's a big wave being shoved into the tower, so Forbidden really has to stick around to keep that. But it means Godbro has so much pressure here that Forbidden just really can't afford to do much but try and farm out this tower and try and farm it safely.
Only good news for Forbidden is that Godbro doesn't have a great deal of mana left. Plus, also, Ku is coming around from Wraith Camp, so if Godbro gets a bit too antsy, he could find himself caught in a bad position, and indeed, Lee is coming around from the side.
I feel like Forbidden's making this a little too obvious though, but they managed to catch on to Godbro. It's not going to be too much as a result from that, as Godbro still has both of his summoners, still has his ultimate, but I feel like Forbidden going into Cougar form and just jumping forward was a little bit too obvious for my liking.
Yeah, because up until that point he was playing very defensive, so it's like, okay, why is he shifting gears? Lee's probably somewhere close. Plus with red buff also spawning around the same time, it was kind of a no-brainer for Godbro, and you instantly saw him backing away.
Voidal got caught out a little bit in that bottom lane, not able to be caught completely, so gets away from that one, but the ping actually went down from CPLAY right onto Lee Sin as he was doing red, so they obviously have the timer of that, know where he is. Boomerang Blade's doing a lot of damage already from Sivir. Remember that did get adjusted for subsequent hits, as it does reduce the damage, of course, for the more targets it hits. But CPLAY already feeling like their bottom lane's going okay, but you look at the itemization, and there is a big disparity between the two.
Top lane?
Oh, missed it. Sorry, my bad.
It was just Trundle getting caught, basically, and the Cyclone was used from Wukong from the side.
Oh, sorry guys. That's the thing about going from play-by-play to or color to play-by-play sometimes is I'm just in my own world looking at things on the map, and really should let Director take some of this control from me. Otherwise, I end up missing things.
It's alright, dude. We love you. No worries. To be honest, it was a very quick death. It was a case of Odomne overstaying his welcome and being caught well and truly with his pants down around his ankles, and he got punished.
There's a lot that could be said about that, but Godbro out pretty far in the middle lane. War Jump comes forward, kicked back into the lane. Spear didn't quite land from that, forced to shield himself. Still no flash used out by Godbro. He's really hanging on to that one when he doesn't need to use it. So good use of, or good not use of summoner abilities, as it were.
Yeah, very confident play. I think it was also a case that he was trying to bait onto or extend mid lane. No.
Yeah, Forbidden flash comes out and followed by Jax. There's the wild growth out from Godbro. Will Forbidden be able to pick this one up? Oh my goodness, that was close. Ku is looking for it, and it looks like there's maybe a rotation out from bottom lane if they chose to go for this, but oh, Ku didn't quite time that out nicely, and Godbro gets away.
Good guy Kawochar tanking up that tower like a boss. Otherwise Lulu was dead, like no doubts there. And yeah, it's just both junglers are trying to get themselves in the thick of the action, and so far it's worked out for them. And as you say, Godbro, because he didn't need to use that flash in the previous exchange, was able to flash away from the tower, and that's really how significant summoners can be in this game.
We were starting to pick up a little bit earlier when I missed that kill on the bottom lane itemization differences between Caitlyn and Sivir. You take a look, BF Sword going up against Vamp Scepter and Doran's Blade. So big damage spike here for Caitlyn that they really should be abusing in this lane. You can see they already have themselves an 11 CS difference, but to try and make up for this, Wukong's actually heading down into the bottom lane for a gank as well.
Yeah, he is waiting for that Dark Binding to land, I have to feel, and he's going to come and decoy in. They're going to know that there's no ward down at this bottom bush, so it's probably a case of once they finish off this creep wave, Wukong will push into this bush, look to go into the next one, and then once the Dark Binding lands, he could very well pop out the bushes and try and make some plays.
Top lane, Dragon's Rage lands, and Odo Amno was getting dropped very low from that one, so they're looking to chase on. Looks like bottom lane has kicked off as well as Cosmic picks up the first kill onto Voidal. Ku picks up that kill onto Jax, so it's a 1-for-1 overall. However, the rotation here is far better for CPLAY.
Yep, exactly what I was expecting now. Wukong just waited in the bushes, bided his time, went through, and that was a very, very good reactionary play to top lane. They're going to pick the dragon up as well, so big swing in CPLAY's favour.
And that's really good here if you CPLAY, because, I mean, coming into this game, they're not really expected to be in control if we're being brutally honest about things, but Cloud9 are looking a little bit shaky to begin this one out. Ku is 2-0, so that they do have going in their favour, and they are somewhat ahead in their lanes, but they were behind on gold. Now they're not anymore, because Trundle's taken down top lane.
Yeah, they are looking a bit uncharacteristically shaky. I will say, though, that in around 5-10 minutes is when Trundle's going to start to get bigger and bigger. Blade of the Rune King has been finished off for him as he just went back. So that is a big spike in damage and also spike in sustain as well. So definitely watch for him to start pushing the envelope, especially as that top tower has been destroyed.
And actually, looking at top lane, it's a little bit wider of a gap than maybe I'd noticed before. 91 CS to 59 is a significant gold difference between the two right now. And with that top lane going in Trundle's favour as well, they need to start getting Jax working a little bit here to get him back into this game.
Yeah, Trundle is actually lurking in mid, so they were trying to get some plays down there onto Godbro. And exactly what you're saying, because of this difference in gold and experience and everything else, this may draw out the ganks to start coming at top lane instead. And in fact, Odomne is just saying, screw this, my wave is not really pushing in my favour, so I'm just going to try and secure more objectives in mid lane.
Ooh, Wukong got engaged on by Ku there, forced to decoy out, but Odo Amne is just pushing down this turret constantly, and there's not really a lot that they can do, although he's taking a lot of damage, forced to subjugate. There's the engage with the pillar as well. Odo Amne will drop from that for Bivin, now getting taken pretty low, forced to barrier out. Dragon's Rage back to try and reduce the damage in this engagement. Ku is the last man standing, as that was a double kill for Wukong.
Perfectly placed barrier there from Nidalee, kept her alive long enough to secure the kill. 2 for 2, that's 2 double kills as well going down, I believe. One of which was from Lee Sin, so plenty of action, but the important thing there, Stress, is the middle tower was picked up from Cloud9, so they get that global gold in their back pocket.
They do indeed, and overall they have themselves about 1,000 lead that'll be around for another 5 or so seconds as Jax is wailing away on that top lane turret. And now the lead is only down to 300.
One of the only downsides, though, if I'm looking at this from Cloud9's perspective, 4 kills on Lee Sin out of 5. He will scale off. However, for the next 10 minutes, he has this passage of this power play almost, because he's building super damage base, and that's because he's picked up so many kills. So if he can make this work and get somebody snowballing, it's going to work well. Dark Binding lands at bot.
Yeah, Dark Binding lands, they deal a lot of damage with that Boomerang Blade. Hyanan doesn't want any of that one, so we'll back off, but maybe we'll see a rotation here by Wukong down towards this bottom lane. It would be a bit of a power play out by them to try and take a turret, but they're already taking mid lane turret, and now they're going aggressive as Ku gets dropped very low. Oh, really nice pillar out there as the Dragon's Rage follows through as well. Surely they should be able to pick up the first kill onto Jinx. The leap forward will end up picking that one up. And now Voidal's in a little bit of trouble, but Wukong forced to decoy and gets the shield from Lulu. Spear is eaten by the clone, but that is it for that fight.
Bit of a messy fight. Two key things there, though, with Jax falling down. One is that Subjugate was used after he popped his ultimate, so all of the resistances went to Trundle, and therefore he was actually quite squishy. And he saw that with the Dragon's Rage back from Lee Sin, who again is building very attack damage base, Brutalizer, Spirit of the Elder Lizard. So he fell quickly, and after that it was a case of just both teams feeling one another out. Still, a kill for 0 in favour of Cloud9 in the end.
CPLAY are pushing that bottom lane though at the same time. Godbro sounded like he took a spear in that middle lane. Forbidden is starting to reach the point where he's going to start doing a lot of damage, halfway towards getting his needlessly large rod. Looks like the call out by Cloud9 here is to defend this bottom lane turret, as Ku is down in the bottom side of this map, but Wukong not too far away himself here. So it's just the rotation game now for these two teams. 2 towers apiece. It's only the bottom lane towers that remain in that outer shell.
It is, and it's probably not going to be for long, because you can see right now a couple pings going down there. They have 2 junglers as well, who have a huge amount of impact, especially how they're building. So already you can see 7 out of 10 players starting to move down to bot. Nidalee has decided to go to mid instead. This is all going to come down to who gets that first skill shot to land. If it's going to be on the side of Cloud9, Lee Sin will quickly move into position. If Dark Binding lands, however, you are going to see Wukong jumping in.
As you said, all down to that initial engage, and Voidal may... Oh, there's the reveal. Okay, Ku's walked over a ward, so the decoy comes out, and the ultimate on the hunt gets used. Voidal getting dropped very low at the beginning of this one, but they managed to trade that for support. Ku is the one that picks up that kill, though, so now up to 5-0-1. But this tower is under a lot of pressure here from CPLAY as they force Cloud9 out.
That was 100% worth, though, from the side of CPLAY, because although Lee Sin picked up the kill, as you say, went 5-0, it was the AD carry of Cosmic who took the kill down for CPLAY. So the AD carry is getting bigger, and now they're going to look to push this next tower.
Ku looks to come in through the side. All he gets is a Jax, though, and that's an instant shutdown. The shutdown goal going over to Wukong. And now Cloud9 are looking a little bit shaky in this one. They find themselves behind once again. Odo Amne is pushing the top lane, however, so every time we say that they're looking a bit shaky, they show us that they're actually not, because they're taking objectives halfway across the map.
Dragon is up in 3 seconds, though, so you can see CPLAY looking to even up the odds here in the last few seconds on objectives. Cloud9 to be careful, Jax engages.
Voidal getting locked down in place. Now Hyanen's trying to land some damage from the side, and Wukong taking so much damage from Dragon. They're just trying to buy time for the rest of Cloud9 to get over there, but that's a big empowered strike there from Jax. Ace in the hole not available yet. They actually forced the barrier out from Cosmic, and it's a case of Forbidden just throwing spears, looking to land that one. Didn't quite find the mark, but Godbro now rotating around towards this fight. Hyanen going to get dropped very low from the glitter lance. Hyanen, is he going to be able to get away from this one? Forced to barrier. Godbro uses the ult on himself. No way of Hyanen getting away. And I don't think Godbro is going to fall here.
No, it doesn't look likely. Ku is going back in for seconds, though.
He is. We'll see whether this is going to punish him, because we've seen this out of Ku a couple of times. Had to use a Dragon's Rage. Heal comes from Nidalee. That's a massive follow on from the resonating strike, and now Forbidden, who has been here the entire time, is looking for that pounce into swipe. Couldn't quite get it. Spear doesn't land. Ku somehow getting away from that one with his life.
Ku? Really? Don't take that ward, dude. It's not worth your life. Wukong and Jax were just waiting for him to keep attacking, and this is probably going to be the bottom lane falling, but just going back to what happened in the initial stages, I'm keeping an eye on Wukong is actually moving down here, Stress, so they may engage. Nope, they're going to let this tower fall instead. It was like almost a lapse in communication from the team, because they're all focusing different targets, and they allowed their AD carry of Caitlyn to just be stood in the middle of 3 players and get completely smashed. So for my money, that was probably a lapse in communication. It didn't make a lot of sense as to what happened.
This is such a back and forth game right now that neither team has established a considerable lead. You can see Ku dropping very low as they steal away that blue buff over, actually giving that over to Hyanen, so it's not the most optimal choice to give that over to your AD carry, but a steal is a steal nonetheless, and they prevent CPLAY from picking that up for themselves. However, it looks like CPLAY are going to group for this middle lane, maybe looking for the engage here on Voidal, but Voidal does have the stun charged up and has Tibbers available.
Yep, and they have all 5 players congregating around the mid area, so They are in the slight advantage, but looks like an engage here from Cloud9.
Oh, Tibbers lands onto, I think it was 3 members, may have been doing a clone. Hyanan gets obliterated from the side of this fight, though. The Soul Shackles is going to deter a couple of members of Cloud9 from actually getting into the backline there. Odo Amne drops as well, and now it's down to Forbidden as being the major damage dealer, and he's getting dropped low as well. Spears are looking to land, but they're not quite finding them. Only Godbro has dropped. That's a 2-for-1 in favor of CPLAY right now.
Going back in again though, Stress Feather has been caught here.
Yeah, forced to flash away after the barrier, trying to land those spears. Ku is still going aggressive into that one, picks up a kill onto Wukong. And, oh, Cloud9 are just landing those spears now. Morgana will breathe a sigh of relief on that one.
They will. Looks like Q. He actually hit the Q on the small Wraith there on red, but the key factor there was the anti-Tibbers, and then after that, Cosmic was pretty much left unscathed on the side of the fight, so he was putting down free damage and not taking anything in return. But it was a very scrappy fight once again. This is such a close game, just 400 gold in it.
Very close game. Characteristic of our last game of the previous best of 3, actually, where it was close all the way up until about the pretty much 5 minutes before the end in the previous game, but that's what we're seeing again here, 21 minutes into the game, and it is even on gold actually now, as the last little bits of gold from the jungle have been picked up, and both teams are going to head back to buy.
They are quite a bit of gold to spend actually here. Lee Sin had about 1.4k, is building towards the Randuin's Omen. So this is pretty much what we're expecting with all those kills early on. Wants to try and give back to the team with more damage output. But at some point Lee is simply not going to be crushing people. He's not going to be bursting people down. And that's when you start to see items like Randuin's Omen come out. So that when he jumps with his Resonating Strike Sonic Wave combo, he can slow everybody down. And when you have a look at the side that he's against, you want to slow Jack's attack speed down, you want to slow Wukong, you want to slow Sivir. Very, very good pick.
Sivir spell shielding out the Sonic Wave, making sure that there was no engage from that, but Ku has so much of the gold from Cloud9 that really they can't afford to let him not be useful in this game. If he doesn't get the engage they need or doesn't quite start the fight the way they want it to, could be disastrous for them, because really they don't have all that much. Wow, that spear. Okay, forget what I said. That's going to be a very low Cosmic Q. They force out the ultimate from Lulu, and that's enough to kick this engagement off. Voidal getting taken down from the side. Here comes Wukong. Forbidden getting dropped low himself. Is going to get denied any kind of kills in this engage. Ku is onto a killing spree and a shutdown instantly for Sivir there as Odo Amne trying to get away from this one. Will get locked down. That's going to be a double kill for Sivir. Now the rest of the chase continues. Hyanan locked in place. That's going to be an ace here for CPLAY.
And I've got to say, he's a phenomenally good player, but all of that ace is on his shoulders. He went way, way too aggressive underneath the tower. Lulu wild growthed, and after that it was all in CPLAY's favor, because Ku was basically by himself. And it was easy pickings for the rest of CPLAY. Ku was just so aggressive. I don't really understand why. They got the damage down onto Sivir. They didn't need to tower dive that kill.
CPLAY picked up a middle tower as well for their troubles there, and that really has allowed them to extend their lead significantly further than it was, as this was a very close game, and now we're up to over 3,000 gold being the difference between the two teams. But CPLAY have got to use this. They've been ahead in this game before, and they kind of let Cloud9 get back into it. They need to use this gold lead to take objectives.
Well, they're going for the Baron. They don't have the quickest Baron clear in the world, so this is going to allow CPLAY to move into position, and you can already see right now they're taking quite a bit of poke. In fact, Cloud9 want to go in on this.
They do. Pillar gets used out, and CPLAY getting kind of split up here, but Forbidden dropped very low from that. Jack's now onto a rampage as well into this game as Hyanan gets obliterated. Only Ku and Odo Amne remain, but Ku is so low here that he's not even in the fight. He's now just waiting on a Baron steal attempt, but you can see the rest of CPLAY aren't even going for it. They're going to rotate out towards the inhibitor turret.
The correct decision, in my opinion. You can always go back to get Baron later on, but this inhibitor tower will not respawn once it's dead. So it's very much worth going straight for this one. They can tank it up with Wukong, they can tank it up with Jax as well. This will be falling down. They will want to back away now, though, because players are respawning from Cloud9. What I want to go back onto, though, is the team composition for Cloud9. It's a poke siege kind of comp. You do have elements of engage and peel as well, but ultimately, you don't want to go 5v5 against CPLAY. The problem is, they keep getting caught out of position stress, and they're playing to their weaknesses. That's why they keep losing these team fights.
Oh man, Voidal getting locked down. That's another pickup there for CPLAY, and they are... Ku, what are you doing? Ku, what are you doing? You're getting locked down. You are going to pick up a kill for yourself, but that is going to be an inhibitor pretty much for CPLAY if they choose to rotate towards it, because here comes Godbro in behind Khan. It's a massive amount of damage out of the Glitter Lance, and CPLAY can just go for the inhibitor here.
This is what I'm talking about, though. You look at every single member from CPLAY, they excel in team fights. Yes, Jax can go ahead and split push and do wonders there, but in a straight up 5v5, CPLAY should always win. And for some reason, Cloud9 keep trying to engage on them, and it's just not paying off for them. What they needed to do, and I think they may have already lost their advantages in this game now, completely lost them to a position where they can't really pull them back, is you want to get on a tower and siege, or you want to try and defend, land a couple Nidalee Spears, and then engage. Don't get caught out, because then you're going to lose team fights. It's that simple.
One of the problems that Cloud9 have got now is really the only person that should in this game, in theory, be able to duel Jax is Trundle, but Trundle is busy now by the fact that there's a 7-0 Sivir, an 8-3 Lulu, and now a 5-5 Jax, who is well and truly into the game and is already at the point where he is starting to completely decimate people. So it's not even like Trundle's got a decisive focus in this game.
No, he definitely doesn't. And with Lee Sin having so many of the kills over, for example, their AD carry or Nidalee in mid, who, if you had a Void Staff on top of it, in fact, Cosmic's been caught out of position.
Ace in the hole's going to come through. That's going to take Cosmic very low. The spear is on point. They managed to pick that one up, and I wonder... Yeah, Spell Shield wasn't available for that spear, so that may give Cloud9 the little bit of a wake-up call that they needed here, was that previous fight, that now they're going to take down a turret. I have a feeling they may even siege up this this inhibitor turret, because they certainly have a team composition to do it with Nidalee, but it just depends on whether they can get the damage out in time, and with the minion wave dying that quickly, I don't think they can.
And this is precisely where Cloud9 excel. In these kind of situations with sieging, this is where their composition starts to come to fruition. Cosmic was over-aggressive, and he was kind of arrogant now, honestly. His positioning was really poor, and he got punished, and the shutdown gold as well on Nidalee, which is really, really important. That's where they excel, but they have to back away because they're so far behind at this stage of the game. And you can see the pings on Baron right now. They can see that Caitlyn's at bot lane, and they're going to try and rush this.
Yeah, and they do have some pretty good single target damage here when you take into account Jax with that Blade of the Rune King is going to start chunking that down. But it's always dangerous to go for a Baron against a Nidalee team just because of the small area that you have to stand. There goes Jax into the fight for Bivin, getting dropped low. Ace in the hole comes through the fight as well as Cosmic picks up the first one for himself. Cyclone used by Wukong off at the side as Godbro goes dominating on Lulu, and CPLAY may not even need to pick up this Baron because they've got 3 members of Cloud9 down already, and Ku is again going aggressive. What are you doing, Ku?
Doesn't make any sense. I can understand if it was a case that you're trying to kill a player before going down, but why would you do that when you're the jungler, when you could potentially steal away this Baron buff? Now that's definitely not going to happen. Kiana's been caught, he's going to die, that's going to be a Baron, and I don't know, man. Ku's been making some really weird decisions in this game.
Well, I think that's enough really weird decisions in this game, because Cloud9 are going to surrender this one out, and CPLAY will head into this second game of the series 1-0 up.
Because the point I was trying to make is, if you're going to go in and try and get a kill, fair enough. But surely as a Lee Sin, even if there's a 1 or 2% chance, you'd rather live and then try and steal a Baron, right? So why would you go in against 5 players? It does not compute.
It does not compute indeed. But nevertheless, we will be, I was going to say computing our way over, but that segue doesn't even work. I'm trying to segue too hard in some of these, but we're going to be heading over to game number 2 very shortly as we get all the players into the lobby. So we'll be back with game number 2 between CPLAY and Cloud9 Eclipse in just a couple of minutes here on KSTV.